In May, a judge on India's Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, called unemployed young people cockroaches. Not on Twitter, not at a rally, from the bench in open court while hearing a case. And here's what happened next. And it's the part that I actually want to talk about. A bunch of these young people looked at that and went, fine, we're cockroaches. And they took that insult and turned it into a name. And then name into a movement. The Cockroach Janata Party. It's a pun. BJP, that is the current ruling party in India. That is the joke. 2 months later, that joke has turned into 10,000 people marching on Parliament, and the police were firing tear gas at them, doing lathi charges and smacking them with sticks until their own heads bleed. These are not violent people walking in, these are kids. So I wanted to walk you through what actually happened, and I'm going to show you the receipt for every single thing that I say. And where I don't have a receipt, I will show you that as well. I'll tell you out loud because that's where a lot of nonsense is currently flying around, and I would rather be right than be dramatic. I also want to make sure that you know this, I am going to be reading out of a script the entire time, because this is way too important to get the facts wrong. As we can see here,
police used batons and fired tear gas to disperse the crowd near Resina Road, around 200 meters from Parliament.
That is the 20th of July, Delhi. We'll get there. Let's start with the actual sentence that set it off. 15th of May 2026, Supreme Court of India, the Chief Justice Surya Kant, sitting with Justice Bagchi. The case has nothing to do with any of this. It's a contempt petition about how senior advocates get designated in the Delhi High Court. The court thought that the petition was frivolous, and in the middle of dismissing it, he said this. There are youngsters like cockroaches. They don't get any employment, they don't have any place in profession. Some of them become media, some of them become social media, some of them become RTI activists, and they just start attacking. Now I need you to hear this part because it matters. This is not a transcript. India's Supreme Court does not publish transcripts of oral remarks from the bench. There is no official record of this, and obviously in court recordings don't happen, so there is no direct recording of this. But this has been noted down by the courtroom's reporter and by multiple other people like Live Law, Indian Express, Bar and Bench, and they differ slightly from each other, but I want you to know that the message is basically clear. So I'm not telling you that here is a certified record, I'm telling you that multiple legal affair reporters sitting in the same room wrote down almost the same thing, and that's the strongest evidence that exists. And that's what I'm going on. As we can see here, this is WION reporting it at the time.
On May 15, the CGI, during a hearing, lashed out at increasing fake degree holders and activists who target institutions. Kant took to comments a step further when he referred to youngsters as cockroaches. The comments...
Now, the next day, the minister did clarify that, and I'm putting this in the video obviously because if I skipped it, I would be doing the exact same thing that these guys did, which is awful. I'm not going to misrepresent anyone. His position, he says, was misquoted. He wasn't talking about unemployed kids at all. He was talking about the people who got into legal professions, into media and things like that on things like fake and bogus degrees, right? Here's the quote. So let me be fair about this. Two things are true at the same time. He says he meant fake degree holders. That's his account and you should have it. And the remark, as reported, does on its face talk about people who don't get employment. I can't resolve that for you. I can just show you what all facts I have. But here's the one thing that is not in dispute. It was a clarification, not a retraction, not an apology. He didn't take it back. He said you understood him wrong, as we can see here.
Clarifying his stance, the CGI stated, and we quote, "I am pained to read how a section of the media has misquoted my oral observations made during the hearing of a frivolous case yesterday.
And then 10 days later, when a lawyer went to court and asked it to do something about this movement because it was supposedly damaging the judiciary image, the bench said, don't take it so sentimentally, and added, there is no grave urgency, we will see. Of course, again, not a ruling, but as a sentence, it's got a certain energy to it, as you can see here.
The Chief Justice of India looked at a lawyer in court and said, don't take it so sentimentally.
Here's the thing. That remark didn't blow up because it was rude. Judges say rude things basically all the time, especially in India. It blew up because of what was already happening that month. NEET UG, that's the National Medical Entrance Exam in India. If you want to be a doctor, this is the exam that 2.27 million candidates sat for. It got cancelled on 12th of May. Why? Because a guess paper had been going around WhatsApp, Telegram coaching centers in Rajasthan, and it turned out to overlap with the actual exam. By how much? Depends on who's counting. And I'm going to give you the real range instead of the scariest number. The print reports about 120 out of 180 questions. A whistleblower, a chemistry teacher who flagged it, says around 140. Economic Times says around 135 out of 194. So somewhere between 120 to 140 questions. I'm not going to pretend to know the exact number because nobody does, okay? A CBI investigation followed. There have been arrests reportedly, but I could not verify an arrest count. I could not verify a single name of the people that were accused, and I could not find a court ruling, so I'm not going to mention anyone in this video. Now put those things next to each other. 2 million kids, a year of their life minimum, most of them 5, 6, and the paper was already out. And then a judge says that people who don't get employment are like cockroaches. That's why it landed. It wasn't a joke about a judge. It was a joke about being told that you're a pest by the same system that just lost you your exam paper because of their negligence and their stupidity. There were also at least 3 student reported suicides because of the same. I'm not going to dwell on it much, or I'm not going to use it as a punchline here, but it's the part that rose the temperatures on everything that is going on. These exams basically judge the rest of your life as an Indian person. If you live in India in particular, being able to pass these exams, scoring in the top, can change you and your entire family and even generations' life. So having it all ruined, being told that none of it matters, yeah. A lot of people could barely pay to sit for that NEET exam for that one time that they got to, and now being asked to retake it, that was a little too much for them, let alone counting the stress that the NEET exam preparations already took them through for an entire year, which already is rather ridiculous. It's one of the toughest exams ever. 16th of May, same day as the clarification, a guy called Abhijit Deepke, political communication strategist, 30-year-old, starts the Cockroach Janata Party. And I want to be precise about what it is and isn't. It's not a registered political party. It wasn't then, and it still isn't at the current moment. There is no ECI registration. It's a movement with a party-shaped joke on top of it. Here's Deepke talking to Al Jazeera at Jantar Mantar in Delhi on 6th of June. To everyone who believes the Indian youth only posts on social media, come down here and see this. And to those who think we will go away after shouting, I want to say we are cockroaches and we will stay until the minister resigns. And then this one, which is absolutely not funny. And it's not just him. Same piece, a 17-year-old. I followed them on Instagram for fun, but there's a chance that we can actually get the minister to resign. That's the whole thing in one sentence. It started as follow for the bit, and then it turned into, wait, we can actually do something. For once, the Indian youth realized that we do have some power here and we can do something. And I'm glad that we're actually standing up. Okay, so now I need to do something slightly annoying here for a lot of people that are pushing this. You've probably seen numbers about this movement. 22 million Instagram followers in a week, 3 million in 78 hours, overtook the BJP in 5 days, 350,000 signups. I tried to verify those. I couldn't. Okay, I couldn't verify even a single one. They contradict each other pretty regularly. They don't trace back to any actual audit. They trace back to the movement's own media sources, and then it gets forwarded because obviously this is growing, right? The biggest issue that I kind of found was that in the exact same week, there was a claim of 22 million followers. And then Al Jazeera reported that while they were physically on the ground, that they got about 55,000. That's not a rounding error. That's 2 whole order of magnitudes. Somebody's very wrong or just giving information and numbers out of context, which, can end up causing some issues. But I will say this, it grew fast. Multiple outlets reported its Instagram past BJP's, the Indian government's official account. And at this point, it has an account that has been blocked. The Indian Express reported it had about 90,000 followers there as well. That's a real specific source number, and it's a lot smaller than the ones going around. But I want you to understand that more people than these smaller numbers have been saying did show up in Delhi. So the truth is neither of them. The truth isn't one that we can verify, so it's not one that I'm going to claim. If you want a number, go and open the account, look at it yourself today. I'm not going to hand you one. Go ahead and look at news reports and multiple sources. But right now, there is no verifiable number from what I found. About 5 days in, the party's X account gets withheld in India. Not deleted globally, withheld. In India specifically. If you were outside the country, you could still see it. If you were an Indian, it was gone. As we can see here, this is WION reporting it the day that it happened.
Earlier in the day, the party's account on social media platform X had been withheld, but the owner created a new page shortly after called Cockroaches Back. Now,
And the fact-checking outlet Decode went and looked at the notice. The account was withheld in response to a legal demand. And that's the bit. Not the government did something illegal. I'm not claiming that. The government did something to a political account and won't say what the legal basis is. To an account that is standing against them, that is gaining a lot of followership, and they have decided that it cannot be shown to Indians. That's the complaint. You can't challenge a reason you haven't been told, and they're refusing to give us any reason. I'll flag one thing here honestly. There is a competing version of this floating around that says this was a Section 6A order on the 21st of June, the national security grounds. Later, that was overturned by Delhi High Court on the 7th of July. I could not exactly verify if it was overturned. The fact checkers who covered this were still describing the block as alive in mid-July. So something got blocked in May. That's solid, that's on camera. The paperwork, the unblocking, I don't have any sort of paperwork for you to follow there. But the issue is still exactly the same. The government is silencing your media. And the response to being blocked was to just immediately come back as cockroaches back. Which, genuinely, honestly, that's hilarious. Welcome to fighting with a generation that knows how to use the internet. Go ahead and block an account. We'll gladly make 100 more. Can't really block all of them. But it also tells you that this switch is going to be rather difficult to turn off for the Indian government, as it should be. Fucked up. Then came the playbook, and you'll recognize it because it's the same everywhere in the world. They're not real, they're foreigners, they're bots. This is all just made up. Union Minister Kiran Rijiju, not naming them directly, I pity those who seek their followers in social media from Pakistan and George Soros gangs. Another Union Minister, Sukunta, went further and put on it a number. 49% of CGP's followers are from Pakistan and only 9% from India. Others push 90% Pakistani. So the outlet decode actually went and checked. And I want to walk through what they actually found because this is the most useful 60 seconds in this entire full-length video. So Decode went and looked at 3 separate sources: the Peak's own Instagram analytics, screen recorded 94% Indian, an independent third-party tool called Modash over 95% Indian, Hype Auditor over 75% Indian. 3 different methods, same answer, not one of them anywhere near Pakistan. And then the actual kill shot. They asked an expert, Sandeep Narvani, who does social media analytics, and he said this: there is no reliable way to determine where Instagram followers are from. Sit with that for a second. Instagram does not exactly publish your follower geography. I'm posting here. It doesn't. It's not a stat that exists publicly. So when a sitting Union Minister of India tells you that 49% of the people are Pakistani, he cannot know that. I'm not saying that he's lying. I'm saying that the numbers cannot have come from data because the data isn't available. It came from somewhere else, likely from up his ass. And they tried a second one. The CGP took down its own website to fake being censored. Decode checked the DNS record and the domain was in a status called client hold. Now let me confirm what a client hold actually is. A client hold comes from the domain registrar, such as Hostinger or any other website that you're using to host your website. The security research Karan Sanin said that a client hold is not a practical way to shut your own website. It kills global access and requires a registrar to do it. It would be like me wanting to close my company, and instead of shutting my doors, I went to the government and filed a lien against myself. So no, they did not take down their own site. You can check that one. It's a DNS record. It's not a matter of opinion. It's a matter of fact. Right. And now I have to tell you the things that cut the other way because otherwise I'm just doing propaganda with better sources. It has been reported, including by WION, on air that Abhijit Deepke used to work in social media for Aam Aadmi Party. I could not independently confirm this. I tried to, so I'm giving it to you as reported, not confirmed. Keep that very much in check. Reported, not verified. And honestly, he's a political communication strategist. That's his actual job. He never pretended to be a random kid who made a meme. A professional being a professional is not the same thing as a foreigner being a bot, right? Those are 2 completely different accusations, and one of them has evidence behind it, but you should know both and you can decide what you think. But from my side, judging someone for being a part of a separate party does not mean that their current movement, where people died, is something that we can just ignore. 28th of June, Sonam Watki, the education reformer and the guy the movie 3 Idiots was loosely inspired by, starts an indefinite hunger strike at Jantar Mantar. 6 students from ISA join him. 18th of July, roughly 20 days in, police move in and take him to the hospital, carried out covered in white sheets. Understand that they showed up in plain clothes, grabbed him in the middle of the night and took him away, as we can see here. CJP has called it a forceful abduction. His wife objected to him being treated without consent. because this wouldn't be the first time that a political activist was killed in India while in custody during medical treatment. And I want to be genuinely careful here because there's a real argument on both sides of this one. A man 20 days into a hunger strike is an actual medical danger, true, and the state does have the duty to care. But the state does not have the right to show up like gangsters in plain clothing and pick him up. We hospitalized him for his own good is their say, but it is also the oldest way in the world to end a hunger strike without conceding anything. Both of those things can be true at once. And the fact that it happened 2 days before the march on the parliament, that's not a detail that I'm willing to just throw away. Things can be consequences. They can be coincidences. But when you have so many things happening at the same time, all somewhat related, there is a relation behind the scene that you might not see fully. Immediately announced his own indefinite fast when this happened. Can't exactly explain any other reason than that man's devotion for me to make this video. I was planning to stand on the side, but I realized that that would just be horrendous of me to do, knowing the sort of things that people are currently doing. So no. Thank you, Mr. Deep K, for going ahead and doing what you're doing, because it inspired many of us to start sharing about what's actually going on. If I was in Delhi right now, I would join the strikes myself. 20th of July, the March on Parliament happened. That morning, Deep K and the ISA students break their fast, drink juice, and walk, as you can see here. And then the police responded. Tear gas, baton charges, barricades, metro stations shut down, mobile internet cut in the areas, about 9,000 personnel deployed. As we can see here, this is what happens when you go ahead and do anything in Delhi that is peaceful and go ahead and try and make your voice known. Police said 118 security personnel were injured, including senior officers. Police said around 60 protesters were injured. Police say around 70 people were detained. Police said that 15 to 20 government vehicles were damaged. I'm repeating police said deliberately, and here's why. Every one of those numbers comes from Delhi police. There is no independent count. I'm not telling you that they are false. I'm telling you, you're hearing one side's arithmetic, and it's the arithmetic of people beating you with batons. The injured protesters number is specifically the one that the interested party has the most reason to keep low. And worse than that, these are the people that are the ones that are harming them. So of course they don't want to make that sound like a big number, because then you might actually start paying attention. Here's the one figure that came from somewhere else. Lawyers said that 53 detainees were being held at the stadium and the legal representatives were not allowed to see them. And to be straight, police has also said that protesters threw stones and damaged properties, and eyewitnesses reported the same. But I also want to clarify that the eyewitnesses said all of that started after the lathi charge from the police. These were kids most likely reacting to the fact that they were beaten up by batons from people that were supposed to be protecting them. This isn't one-sided and peaceful, and I'm not going to pretend like it was completely peaceful. It wasn't. No deaths were reported by anyone anywhere though, which is thank God, but there was also a viral claim that did post that 7 people died, 91 injured, 250 arrested, but the police called that false. I couldn't find that evidence for either way, and I'd rather tell you that a claim was made, sympathetic side of the story, than, it's just junk. Let it slide because it's convenient. But the reality is we have no true idea of what the number is. We have no idea if anyone was killed because the people that would be reporting it to you aren't allowed to be there. The people that are hurting you and the people that are doing the baton charges are the ones that are going ahead and reporting how many people they've hurt and killed. So I don't know about the accuracy on either side right now. So, where are we right now? As I am recording this on the 21st of July. 3 demands. Release Sonam Wangchuk. Dharamdhe Pradhan resigns, as in the education minister, he goes ahead and resigns. 1 crore rupee compensation for the families of the NEET aspirants who died by suicide because of their negligence. 2 rounds of the talk with the union minister JP Nada. Demands have been presented and they have been submitted in writing as well. The government has given no assurances on anything. Nothing at all. Most see this as complete denial and just waiting for this movement to hopefully die down. Please, to every single Indian that is watching this, do not let it die down. I won't. And this was Deep K's response to the government saying nothing. Now again, as I'm recording this on the 21st of July, 2026, this is where it stands. As of this morning, if you're watching this later, please go check your online sources because it has 100% moved. Don't take a video's word just for where it is. Don't even just take my word. Don't just believe me because I showed you some sources. Go look them up. Go see what is actually happening. It's important for you to do that because that is what they're trying to stop. And now, here's why I actually went ahead and made this. The official youth unemployment number in India is 9.9%. And the government will quote that number at you, and it's a real number. It's from their own statistics office. But the same report says that roughly a quarter of young Indians are not in employment, not in education, and not in training. A quarter in the same survey. 1 hour of work a week counts as employed in India. 1 hour of work a week. So when a judge says they don't get any employment, the ugly part isn't that he's wrong, he's describing something real. The ugly part is what he does with it. He describes it as a character defect, as if we as a generation don't know how to work. Not a policy failure, not the fact that the government can't control their own fucking country and do anything for their youth like make jobs. It's our problem. It's a pest problem. We are cockroaches. And what these kids did with that is take the insult and put a flag on it. That's not a political party. It should be. It isn't. It's a generation going, you named us. Now fucking public and respond. Say full fucking chest and go ahead and tell us what you have done. I've shown you every receipt that I could get. And where I couldn't get one, I've told you what I saw. I can't do more for you. That is everything that I can show you. So if somebody tells you that these kids are 49% Pakistani, just ask them where the number came from, because likely it came from directly up their ass. Instagram does not publish that data. The man who said it does not know it. And that's kind of the standing situation in India. Government officials are freely allowed to talk and say whatever the hell they want, and I would say whatever they want. In India, a lot of people in India have decided that that is just the truth. Blindly follow people that have been destroying this country for decades. Everything in India has been continuously going down, but we have managed to stay in a place of mediocre. A place where it doesn't hurt just about enough. A place where we are willing to just stand around because, at least it's not that bad. I want you to look around at what's going on in Delhi. And in particular, I want you to imagine if one of those selves was your friend, your sister, your family member, someone that you loved and cared about. Would that still be something that you would be okay with ignoring? Realize that this is not the first time that things like this have happened in India. Realize that this is the first time that it has gotten big enough for us to hear. So hear it. And don't just hear it, scream it back out loud as you can. Share this, post stuff, everything that you can do to move forward, move it. If you're in Delhi and you're not in risk of any sort of injury, things like that, go ahead and protest, do everything that you can because it's about time that we stand up for ourselves. Because clearly the government and everyone else has shown that they're willing to ignore us. So it's about time that we go ahead and stand up.